Ladies and gentlemen, my name is TotalBiscuit. It's been oft requested and frequently denied, the notion of a setup video. Apparently that's what YouTubers do these days. Like, here's my office, now give me ad revenue. Why not? Sounds totally reasonable. Made sense to do it this time around because, hey, it is actually our new place, and my office is about as clean as it's ever gonna be. So, here we go. Inside, out of the echoes, and into the not-so-reverby office. As you can see here, it's kind of got an arched ceiling to it. I don't know what it is. I don't know why there is even a room like this in the house, but I kind of appreciate it nonetheless, because it's ideal for my office space. More storage than God right here. And the legitest of modems. It's actually a router, but never mind. And then everyone in America gets confused when I call it router. It's a router! It's not a router, it's a bloody router! How difficult can that be? Anyway, I recommend that thing. That's a nice one. What is it? It's, yes, Asus RT-AC66U dual band. Yes, absolutely, you should get one of those. They're pretty damn good. Around the corner, we see piles of boxes and stuff that I'm not really finished unpacking yet. There's also a top hat there. My sister sent me a new top hat for, I think it was Christmas last year, just to replace the old one that we eventually gave away for charity. So I was like, hey, why not? Currently it has screws in it. Why not? I always had a few screws loose. And then there is a wicker basket, which is not remotely interesting. I'm not sure why you want to see it. And a bunch of old hard drives. Is that the dead one? I think it is. Behold, that actually is the dead one from PAX, the one we dropped and cost us $2,000 to recover from the data from. Yeah, it wasn't so great. Yeah, but Drive Service did a fantastic job. Bloody well better, considering how much we paid for it. And I, for some reason, have this coat hanger. You know, they actually give you this when you hit like 250,000 subscribers, or at least you used to. Was it 100,000 maybe? I have never used it ever, but it's got little play buttons. And it's just not remotely useful. It's just annoying, but here you go. And my Expo Pass for... Why do I even have this? I actually have a bunch of them back at the old place that we still haven't moved yet. I like to keep my panelist badges and things from events. It's a nice little memento. Laptop bag and just general kind of carry stuff that I need in order to go from event to event. That laptop case has survived many things. I've had it for years, and it's a durable little bastard. And it fits my laptop, most of my equipment in it. You can even fit my tablets in there as well, so it's not too bad. Alright. You might be wondering, why is there a curtain here? Why is this area dark, this area not so much? Well, you might notice there's a bunch of, I think it's called Aralex foam, that we've got pinned to the ceiling there. That's designed to deaden a lot of the sound. In this area right here, there's a bit of reverb. As you go into this area, the reverb sort of starts to disappear, as you can probably notice. You can probably hear the difference between the two, because this is deadening a lot of it. We've got a lot of that. There's even some behind here. Maybe you didn't know this, but if we look behind the upside down British flag right here, you will see there is yet more of this. This is kind of is designed as a screen to... It's kind of like an impromptu sound booth of sorts to try and make sure that things stay there. And we've got this cloth hanging here as well. That's to kind of cut the room in half, and all of that, including the carpet on the floor here. You'll notice that this entire area is actually hardwood. The carpet on the floor is designed to deaden sound. You can even tell the difference when I turn around. So, like, if I start singing, there you go. Isn't that wonderful? You can actually notice the difference in the reverb. Maybe it's just me, but yeah, there's a big difference. I'm thinking maybe I want to get another one of these screens to kind of put here, and then I portion that off, but I do want to make sure that the air conditioning actually helps in this house, because honestly, the last office I was in was a bloody furnace half the time. Yes, so, the table, the desk, things that are here. Laptop, that's an Asus G73SW, which at the time was pretty high-end. It's beaten up now, honestly. I need to replace it. It doesn't work half the time. It's got a lot of driver problems. The display drivers crash constantly on that thing. But for years, it's been pretty reliable. But it is beaten up. Let's have a look. Yeah, this is coming loose right here on the edge there. There's a lot of wear and tear on this thing. And the keyboard on that is dreadful, by the way. That was something that they actually managed to fix later on with future iterations, but the keyboard on the Asus G73 is abysmal and horrible to type on, so I used to have to carry a little keyboard around with me. So that's that. My plastic Romulan Warbird. Did I actually put batteries in this? Maybe I did. Let's see if I did. Excellent. Yes, there we go. why not? There's no reason to... I wish I could have this on constantly. That would be pretty cool. It lights up. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit childish when it comes to Star Trek. I've watched every single episode of every Star Trek ever. Charger for my Razer. And this thing, yeah, so I got sent this as a trade sample. Occasionally I get weird stuff sent to me every now and again. And this is the Games, spelled Gaems. It's basically a hard carry case for a console, as you'll see here. So this is our old Halo 3 edition 360. You can tell how much it gets used by the amount of dust that's on the hard drive there. But that's actually a closed system, so if we actually turn that on, it's basically a really heavy console laptop. It's, you know, potentially quite useful. It's not too bad. It's got some nice speakers in it. It does what it's supposed to do. It's a little bit pricey for what it is, but I think it's also bomb-proof, so I guess that would be helpful. Yeah, it's not a bad little system. I think it would be useful for people who are traveling to tournaments, for instance, maybe fighting game tournaments. But the whole thing's kind of self-contained and closes up and you can just carry it anywhere, which is pretty cool. But you do need to plug it in. It's not battery-powered. If you could battery power a 360 and a monitor, I'd be bloody impressed. Speaking of fighting games, Mlg Fight Stick. That's the Mad Catz one. It's not too bad for a starter, in my opinion. It's pretty good. It makes nice clicking noises. There you go. If it makes nice clicking noises, that clearly means it's a good fight stick. I only really use it for stuff like Mortal Kombat and Injustice. I actually use a Sega Saturn pad for the rest of my games. I prefer that to the fight stick, but it's a really nice fight stick and it's not ridiculously pricey like the other ones, so thought that seemed to make sense for me. Especially since I'm not that good at fighting games anyway. I hardly need a $300 fight stick. Alright, the computer. As you can see, I'm only using 2 monitors right now. I moved away from using 3, mainly because the third monitor tend to be blocked out by the microphone, as you can see there, which is actually on an arm stand, which I extend down when I need it. So 2 monitors is enough. I would maybe prefer either larger, higher resolution monitors with 2, or a third one. Maybe 2 2560 or 1600 monitors would be helpful for space, but those are BenQ XT2420Ts, I believe. They're 120Hz 3D monitors. I've never used the 3D on them in my life, but I have used the 120Hz. I use that constantly. It's a really cool experience. Yeah, I like those monitors a lot. I think I actually bought them because they were recommended by Grubby, funnily enough, and he was absolutely right. They're really nice monitors, and they've served me well. 1080p is a good size for me because it means that I can record in native resolution for YouTube. Anything that's like 16 by 10 or say 25600 or 1600, which is of course a 16 by 10 resolution, means that I've either got to play in a letterbox or I've got to play with some weird compression artifacts as it gets resized and things like that, which can be a little bit awkward. So, you know, 1080p is fine for me. I'll probably just wait for 4K before I upgrade, and maybe I'll get some of those G-Sync monitors. Those look pretty good. The computer itself is actually hidden under here. You can barely see it. You can see the green as the 2 Titans glowing in there. But, yeah, that is it. It is a Cosmos 2, which is just a big black monolith of a case. And it's under there mostly so that I can deal with the sound. It's well vented under there, so it should be pretty good. But I wanted it away from my microphone, and that's deadened the ambient sound in here significantly. The actual machine itself, for those of you who don't know, is a 3930K. 32 gigs of, is it G-Skill? Is it Ripjaw X? I think it's Ripjaw X, yeah. G-Skill Ripjaw X, that's DDR3, 2000 megahertz if I recall correctly. And then there's a bunch of SSDs in there, 2 NVIDIA Titans, and a large-ass case. It is water-cooled, not very well water-cooled, I gotta say. It's an H100, the Corsair closed system, closed loop, which is not that ideal, but I didn't want to risk leaking because I am technically awful when it comes to building machines, so tried to make sure that didn't happen. But the case is actually not ideal for that cooler, so if you ever do buy a Cosmos, don't buy an H100 because there's not enough clearance at the top to have both push and pull. So it's not as well cooled as I would like. Alright, the actual machine itself. What is this little blue beauty? Well, that is an RME Babyface, which is my interface. It is the best interface I've ever owned. Better be. It's $750. It's very, very portable. And those cables at the back are breakout cables. They are designed to take a multiple different kinds of inputs. So in this case, I've got an XLR cable here that connects to my microphone, which is up there. And that is an Electro Voice RE20, which is, I think, by far my favorite mic so far. Pretty happy with that. That is basically a sound card. For those of you who don't know what an audio interface is, it's a sound card. Most professional interfaces now are external. They're either USB 3 or FireWire. There are still some internal cards that are used for production. This is the smallest version of what they've got. They also do things like the Firebox and Fireface, which are very expensive, multiple thousands of dollars to pick those up, and they have too many inputs. I only need one input, 2 at maximum, so the Babyface is ideal. It saves all my settings, so when I take it to another machine, I just plug it in, install the drivers, and go. All my settings will be there, and the quality on this thing is amazing. The preamps are just out of this world, and pretty much everything is nicely configured. You can actually see the noise levels there. There's the input levels, outputs, so that's basically showing the microphone picking me up from here, and then you've got the headphone level and things like that, so that's not too shabby. What's next to that? That is a controller, as you can see. Scuff controller, actually. Scuff Hybrid, which was, again, sent to me as a trade sample. I like it a lot. It's a really nice controller. It's mostly a heavily modded 360 pad. It's very, very comfortable. It's got these little paddles on the back, which you can see right here, which can actually be bound to macros. And it's got this really nice, grippy kind of back to it. As you can see right there. Yeah, they're pretty nice controllers. They're expensive for what they are, don't get me wrong. They're mostly designed for like pro COD players and things like that. But I use that, and it's probably my favorite 360 style pad, and it works just fine with the PC, as you might imagine. Moving on. Keyboards. TT Sports keyboard is the one that I'm currently using. Basically, I'm waiting for WASDA keyboards to be able to get my personal specs. They're actually the sponsor of Axiom, by the way. They make amazing mechanical keyboards. And they're looking to try and make one that's kind of a larger size, because currently they only make the variant which doesn't have this bit, and I kind of need this bit. So I've been using the TT Sports keyboard with, I believe it's Cherry MX Blacks on this. So it is a mechanical keyboard, but it's quite quiet. Those of you who are asking, how do I manage to get my recordings where you can't hear the keyboard? It's mostly just through using a quieter mechanical. If I were to use anything like Cherry MX Reds or even Blues, you're probably going to hear them. Cherry MX Blacks are quite quiet, so that's what they sound like. They don't have the big clicking noise. So that's that. Headphones. These are my custom V-Motor M100s. They are pretty damn fantastic. They take a little bit of getting used to, honestly. Probably a couple of weeks of wearing them before you really get used to the fact that they're going to grip you pretty hard. They can hurt your ears after a while. Fantastic bass response, just generally good at everything. Closed back, very important for YouTube. Can't have open back headphones for YouTube commentary because it leaks through the microphone. Those leak a little bit more than I would like, so I've got to have my game sound lower than I otherwise would, but yeah, they're pretty damn good regardless. And as you can see, the mousepad, a very worn and, quite frankly, filthy Razer Goliathus Extended, which is a really nice, very, very long mousepad. The reason I use that is because it actually acts as a little bit of insulation. It deadens this area here, so any kind of vibration noise or anything like that wouldn't come through the mic the way that it used to. I might even get a second one just to stack it on top. Mouse. That is a Logitech G9s, which is probably my favorite mouse ever. I've used Logitech mice for as long as I can remember, really. I've used a couple of Steel series, and I used to have a Razer at one point. I think it was the, whatever it was, that one with the buttons on the side of it, whose name escapes me. But I went back to using Logitech. I'm very, very happy with it. It's a really nice mouse. It's got custom weights and things like that, so you can weight it to your liking. And a Razer bungee there, and it's the most useful thing ever. I know some people say, you don't have to buy a bungee, you can make one. I couldn't be asked, time is money, friend, so I just bought a Razer bungee, and I was very happy with it. It makes everything so much easier. Good lord, it avoids cable tangles and hitching and everything like that, so that's an absolute recommendation there. And as you saw earlier, that right there is my microphone. It is on a stand that comes down, and it also happens to snap a pop shield into place there. So if I'm kind of sitting around here, I'll be a bit closer than this, obviously, because of the camera, but I'll then be commentating, and the pop shield keeps away most of those nasty popping noises, things like that. And when I'm done with it, it just snaps right back up. So yeah, pretty much any general arm stand will do that, and you just strap that to the desk with a kind of vice grip, and then that's it. Above that, that is an iCade. I don't know why I have one of those. I think I got it for Christmas, and it's cool, don't get me wrong, I just don't use it that much, but I like the design, so it's nice to have it sitting there. And this is horrible, by the way. Never, ever, ever, ever should you actually drink this. I like Mio's. Yeah, I pretty much drink nothing but water with Mio in it right now, but Mio Energy Green Thunder in particular is disgracefully horrible, so please don't. Absolutely not. Alright, I have a shelf of nonsense right here, as you can see. So that... Sorry, I'm just getting used to this camera here. The wife usually does all this. Notable gaming personality, as voted by you for the Dragon Slayer Awards. That is a bitchin' trophy. I was very, very happy with that. And then my second most bitchin' trophy, which is an absolute lie. Number 1, Dad. Came in my stocking last year for my son, I believe. Then there's a Millenium Falcon from the X-Wing miniatures game. I have a lot more of those, as you can see. I haven't actually played this yet. I've been collecting a few of them because I like the miniatures, but I have been wanting to play them. There's a Slave one over there, and there's a Y-Wing, a couple of X-Wings, some TIE Fighters, a TIE Advanced, and in the back, it's still in the packets, there's an A-Wing and an Interceptor. Looking to collect a few more, and then I'll probably get the missus or Chris to play with me. Then, that is a complete set of the first set of Shadow Era cards. The physical printing of them, there are 4 of each in those boxes there. I wanted to support Shadow Era because I had a lot of fun with it as a TCG before moving on to Hearthstone, so I pledged a few $100s and got a bunch of stuff and things like that. And aside from that, you've got a bunch of weird gifts from fans, like the Art of the Tactical Carbine that I got recently. And this is weird. This is a dice, quite literally a dice, and it's called, well, dice. I'm trying to get the bloody thing to go. There we go. You see it actually lights up. This connects via Bluetooth to things like iPads and can be used to play board games, which I think is a pretty cool idea. It was sent as a trade sample. I haven't tried it yet. I probably should. Aside from that, zoom out just a little bit. A couple of soundtracks that I got from some handheld games, Project X Zone and Muramasa, both of which are very, very good games. And my Commander plush from... It's Planetary Annihilation? Yeah, it's Planetary Annihilation. Got that from PAX, I believe. And the Guild Wars 2 box, because I just like the box. It's shiny. You see that? Look at it. Look at it. It's shiny. I really like the design of it, so I decided just to keep that there, because I like it. And a couple more gifts from fans, as you saw, the little top hat pencil erasers and the Opeth Still Life album, which is absolutely fantastic. And get to move along, shall we? I didn't show you that joystick. That's a Scitech X52. I generally don't use it. Keep it on my desk just in case I'm playing a flight sim or anything like that, which is a fairly rare occurrence. You'll also notice that by there we have a bunch of other random junk, such as the bullshit button, which is a very handy button to have when you're on the internet. Absolutely. As you can see, I've worn the batteries out on that. Unsurprising. And someone sent me Anthrax. Yes, you saw that. I like to keep that in the corner. It's a nice little pendant design. My King of the Web hats. Yes, indeed. From the 2 victories at the King of the Web contest. And my ultimate treasure, the Double Dragon movie on Laserdisc. Because why not? God, some of you probably haven't even seen a Laserdisc. I remember when these came out, they were insane. Everyone was like, wow, what's this? Yeah, that's what a Laserdisc looks like. It is a complete waste of your time. Don't even. I'll put that up there later. That shows how much I value that. That's the controller case for the Razer Edge Pro tablet. Damn expensive. It's a $250 case, which is absurd for what it is. But it's got a second battery in it, and it gives you controls as well. So I've talked about the Blade before. Sorry, the Edge, not the Blade. I like the Edge a lot. It's a really nice piece of kit, especially as a proof of concept. I think the next iteration is going to be even better. And there we go, a gift that was given to me at PAX in the Co-optional Podcast panel. That is the Canadian version of the original Dungeon Keeper, for sale in Canada only. Yes, vitally important. It is illegal to sell it elsewhere. PlayStation Vita likes to sit around, put the little Muramasa skin on that. I like that a lot. And the case under there, which has got most of my games in it. Why? I don't know why I own these. I am not 13, and yet I own Axe Deodorant and Wolfthorn, which pretty much smells like Mountain Dew. It is the worst thing. I don't know why I own it, but I do. I don't have much taste in that. Like the Hugo Bosses elsewhere, and I generally don't have much reason to actually have it. And as you can see, I'm a little bit of a Warhammer fan. This actually came from a Renaissance fair. Nicely forged. It is spiky everywhere. It is terrifyingly spiky. It is a properly forged Warhammer. It's a bit of a beast. I wouldn't want to get hit by that. Absolutely not. And my Sega Saturn controller, the Mac 2, which I use for fighting games for the most part. Street Fighter in particular. And old Kindle, which is full of rubbish. Let me show you how much rubbish I have on this thing. I have no taste when it comes to reading. I'm sorry, I don't. If you thought I was cultured when it comes to reading, nope, not whatsoever. Dear Lord, I think this is one of the Horus Heresy books. Yeah, I believe so. Let's go to home and find out what terrible books I have. They're all pretty bad. Let's see. 40k, 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 Ender's Game and Ender's Shadow. I finished Ender's Game. A Year in StarCraft 11, which is actually really good. Speaker of the Dead, which is more Ender's Game stuff, and then a bunch of Warhammer books. No Fear, The Outcast Dead, Fallen Angels, Battle for the Abyss. I do have QI, the Book of General something or other, and the Hunger Games books, which I read like 2 years ago. I do have a couple of Terry Pratchett books on here, so I'm not entirely terrible. But for the most part, I'm awful. My Kindle is full of rubbish. I honestly think that's why people like Kindles, because they can read awful stuff like erotic novels and terrible translations and stupid novelizations without being judged by other people on the train. Pretty sure that's why. Indeed. Moving down to the next... I'm sure that's fine. The box, the carry case for the EV there, and also my spare equipment down the bottom. So that's usually a bunch of old stuff that I have as a backup, and I'll take to gigs if I need to. So that's a Razer Black Widow Stealth Ultimate. Not too bad. It's MX Blues, I think, on that, which is a little louder than the one I'm currently using. Then SteelSeries, yeah, there you go. It's a SteelSeries. It's a Xi. Yes, it's not a Sensei. It's a Xi, which is one of the older ones. It's okay, but it crashes my laptop when I plug it in before I boot up, so that's not ideal. And Razer Onza, which it's an okay controller, but it's starting to fall apart. The build quality on those ones so good. I heard the Sabertooth's a lot better. And a set of Bose's for flights. I wouldn't necessarily recommend using Bose's for anything else, but they're fantastic for flying. They really do sound fantastic. And In the Dark, Where the Shadows Lie, which I can't zoom in on. There we go. That's Countryman E6. I've got a couple of those. We use those for conventions. And also if I need to take a lighter microphone to a gig, I'll use a Countryman E6. That does the job there. And my iPad, which rarely ever gets used, as you can tell, because it's just sitting on the shelf looking kind of lonely. It's the most boring-looking iPad ever. I deliberately got that very grey skin for it. And then in the darkness lies the Munchkin, as you might imagine. There you go. I have a few more Munchkin, actually. That I don't have most of my board games up here because they don't fit on the shelf. But Munchkin Axe Cop, Munchkin Cthulhu, and a copy of the King of Tokyo expansion there as well. And a few random DS games. Don't know where they came from. Oh yes, Code of Princess. That actually sucked. And then Pokemon Conquest, which is amazing. And Heroes of Ruin, which isn't. And I think that's really about it, honestly. That's all there is to see. This is where I do my work on a daily basis. This is also where I play games. And it's sort of my little hideaway. And when I want to get away from the internet, I close this room and don't go back in until the next day. It's usually a pretty good idea. Things like our televisions and our consoles are, for the most part, in other rooms, and that's deliberate, because getting away from your work is fairly important. I tend to find, even if your work is very fun, it can get a little exhausting after a while. I know my desktop's a mess. I do it on purpose. I like to torment you. What do we have here? Magical Wizard Wars. Macro Online, Planetside 2... I don't play most of these. I really don't. There's like only a few on here that I even play, but there you go. Is it not an amazing thing? So there you go, that's my setup. Why did you watch this? 23 minutes of this? Are you kidding me? Do you have nothing better to do with your lives? Thank you anyway. I'll see you next time.